We'll start with, well, where's it? Oh, there it is. Alright, let's get the 1-inch brush. Dip it in and feed a little bit of it off. Start at the top, go straight across. I got tape on up here, as you can tell. So I'm not going all the way to the top. But as soon as you go across, start pulling it down. This layer is really, really thin. It's so thin, sometimes you probably ask yourself, why do you even do it? But we're putting the white up there so it'll mix with other colors. As we're painting, we don't have to mix on the palette. But if you put a whole bunch of thick paint up here, it turns into mud and it's hard to work with. So the best way to do it is to start at the top. Pull it down as far as it'll go. And I can see right here, I don't know if you can. Right here is starting to dry up. That's where I'll come back and start my next line. Always start with very, very little, because you might put enough on there the first time and cover the whole painting, and that's too much. You're really stretching this paint out. The object is to put the oil on there so the other paint that we put on slides, and the white is so we can mix color. Like I said, it's such a thin layer. I'm using postboard, so as I'm painting it, it's soaking that first layer up. If I was using canvas, it'd be okay, just one good coat. But at the end, I'm gonna have to go back and look down the side and see what spots have dried up, because it'll look wet looking straight at it. Always look down the side. You'll see those spots that's dried up and you need to touch again. Just really cleaning the rest of this in the brush off. Really pushing it hard, real firm to get it out. If you don't do this step right, the painting will not work for you. It really won't. You know, this is a Bob Ross style painting, and he says the #1 reason, and this is just one of about 20, that paintings don't work is because this layer is so thick. It is really thin. People put too much on. If we was just using the linseed oil, you could get a paper towel, dab it, and you would take off any excess oil. But if you did the magic white like that, you take the white off. Most of it. Nice. So I'm looking down the side of it. And even though I started at the top, that corner right there is dry. You just don't see these spots if you don't look down the side. And you can kind of see how thick this layer is on here by what's on the sides. It is that thin. As I'm pulling it across the board and pulling it to the outside, I can tell how thin it is. If it was real thick, it'd go slap to the end of the tape. Alright, we're ready to paint. And y'all go by Aces and pick up, use some paint in these little containers. I don't want to show the front of it. It might get me in trouble. But they got a good seal to them, and it really holds paint for a long time. I mean, I let most of my paint sit out so it dries up. But the Magic White, you want to, it will dry up on you really quick if you don't get something that can keep the air out. And these little containers, paint containers that they have are wonderful. Alright, let's start with some colors. We all need some colors. Alright. So we're going to do a mountain scene tonight. I'm going to try to fit a cabin somewhere in it. And of course we're going to have some water. I hope. We'll see. We'll see. So tapping my yellow, CAD yellow. And we'll start over here. This time it's going to be a little different. Let's see. Alright, I think that'll work. I'm going to go right into the... let me knock off any heavy paint. I'm okay with a little bit of yellow mixing with it. But I'm going to the Alizar red. And just small X's. Hit it, don't hit it, miss it. Just all those different motions is what you're trying to do. Let it build that sky for you. All of this will probably be covered up by the mountain, but just in case. Alright, I think that's good. And now we'll go into a little bit of blue. Very little color, very little. If you put a whole bunch of paint up there, it's really hard to get it, you know, to have variations in it. Because once you start working with it, it all turns the same color. I'm going to go into just need a little bit of black. Alright, here's a blue. Maybe it's dark enough. Let's see what color this is. That should work. So Vitalio blue. Really gorgeous blue. Alright, just tap a little bit of that color. Alright, that'll work. Now, it's time to get our blending brush and make all that come together. Oh, where you at? Alright, let's see who all we got in here. 2 people? What? Alright. Looks like I missed some folks. Alright. So we're just going to take our blending brush, start right here, and work this edge. We want to really make those colors soft and just blend right together. Alright, just with the corner of the brush, small X's, really, that's all it is. Don't go up until you're blue yet. Work your pink. Or that red, Alizar red. It turns pink when you got magic white on the back. Alright, now we can work that edge. And blue is so strong, it will just eat up everything. Small X's, small X's. It'll just build your sky for you. Your only will out, but you'll have a beautiful sky. Or you'll have some muscle, one of the two. Just right through there. I want that really to come together. Alright, let's clean the brush off. Alright, and we'll go up there with a nice, clean, dry brush. Make sure it's dry. You know, we use mineral spirits to clean our brushes. Don't use turpentine. It leaves a film on your brush. But that mineral spirit will leave a huge, it has a bioreaction with the linseed oil. So you gotta make sure your brush is clean. come down here and bring this down to where it gets really soft. The further back in your scene, the lighter things should be. And the closer they get in your scene, the darker in value. So right through here, I want to bring some of this color down here so I can make it really light. Still using those X patterns. Alright, we're ready. Let's slap us a nice mountain up there. Oh, whoa. Let's put a cloud or two. Hey, Steven, man, what's going on? You should have seen the campfire scene I did a little while ago. I thought it came out amazing. After I get off, we'll go back and post all of them. You get to see it. Alright, so, man, I was really scared because I had done that painting one time before on a small canvas, and I didn't like it. So this time I tried to do a canvas bigger than the one Bob did it on. This time I liked it. It actually looked really great. The top half of that is his scene, and the bottom half of that is my scene. Terry, you in here, man? Teresa, how are you tonight? Blue Cat House. Oh, yeah. Rising Star, thank you so much. Alright, let's get started. Guys, y'all can do this. Anybody can do this. You just need to know what brushes to use and how to use them. And trust me when I say every fan brush is absolutely different, works different. You got to get those brushes and try them out. But once you get used to them and learn how they work, how much pressure, things like that, there's a few tricks to learn. That's it. Hopefully I can show y'all, but you know, I'm kind of a hands-on kind of person. I'm really surprised I picked up watching TV, because normally I have to have somebody show me exactly what to do side by side. All right, let's get a fan brush and start making some pretty clouds. All right, I'm gonna mix just a little bit of not thinner, linseed oil with my magic white. With my titanium white. I just want it to thin down just a little bit to where it's creamy. Yeah, I already got paint up there, so I needed to thin it just a little bit so it'll stick. I added a little bit of red to it. Just a little. Right. Let's go ahead and blend those down. I feel like putting one across this. I'm gonna take my 1 inch and right at the bottom, I want to blend this bottom out. I don't want to touch the top at all. Just small circles. Keep your brush going. Work it right into that background. Alright, we're gonna fluff it up. Do this one. We're gonna fluff it up just a half a turn. Start in the blue, come right above it. And it's gonna put those little white stringy things on it, but don't worry about that. In a minute, we're gonna come back, go across it, and get rid of all those brush strokes and everything. Add a little bit more white right there. I want that to stand out so it's in front of that cloud. Alright, let's work once again, just with the corner of the brush, small circles, keep it going. Soft, soft, soft. I like to go back the other direction and work it. Alright, I'm gonna fluff it up. Remember, don't worry about the long stringy things. They're gonna come out of it in a minute. Fluff it up. Alright, now I'm gonna get my big blending brush. It was the soft one, 2 inch. And lightly, I'm just dragging the brush across it. And it'll get rid of all those stringy things. Just settle that cloud right down into the paint. Alright. I want to make sure that there's a couple more back here. And I'm just going to work these one at a time. Right, fluff them up. All right. And one more. I think it might get covered up by a little mountain back there, but I don't know yet. That'll work. All right, that'll work. Want to be really light way back there in the distance. All right, we're gonna get the knife out now. It's time to do some knife work. Let me mix a little bit of brown, blue, and a little red. We just need some dark colors up there to start with. If you wanted to just use black, you could do that. All right, a little bit of brown, a little bit of red, a little bit of blue. Yeah, like I said. All right, we're not worried about the bottom. Always remember that. Just that edge. I want the dark line around the edge. We'll mix just a tad bit of black with that. All right, I'm only going up there with a little small roll of paint. Like I said, we're just trying to smash that color value right into that board and leave a nice, straight, hard edge at the top. Bob always said that, you could always see a mountain real clear at the top because the air was so clean up there. And I'm just pushing my knife down, just smashing that color right into the canvas as hard as I can. Because when I come back with my little brush, I'm gonna pull some of this color out. We're gonna really shape these mountains. As I'm going, I'm picking up the heavy paint and using it. All right. And you notice that color just gets lighter and lighter as it's mixing with all those other colors. Alright, scratching up all the heavy paint. Now it's time to pull those mountains out and start getting our shape. Alright, what to do with it? I hope I got all the color out of it. It was loaded full of color. Alright. Use a brush that you feel comfortable using. Because like I said, we don't want to mess with that top edge. But we want to use a brush that we can get as close to that edge as you can and pull it out. That's a fan brush or whatever you want to use. This is where you get to shape those mountains. Decide how they fall. Alright, let's start back here. I'm not worried about that tape. Alright, next one. You need shadows. And if you don't, I'm going to show you in just a second. Oh, I'm kind of seeing like a real deep spot back there. We'll see. We'll see. You can change it up so many ways. It's unreal. Alright, that should do it. Just soften up this bottom of them. Because of that magic white, it'll just blend away. That's why we put the magic white on there. If we put just linseed oil, that value would stay the same color. You'd have to add white to lighten it. Alright, so since we got such a bright sky, I was trying to make it bounce, but couldn't. No pressure at all. What you're trying to do, alright, I'm going to show you. So I clean the knife off. I have flattened a little spot of white and pink right here. It is real flat. I'm going to go back and I'm going to scratch up just a small, let me show you, a small little roll of paint on the end of that knife. You can barely see it. But if you overdo it, it won't break for you. You'll just leave a big white mark all the way down. If you barely put a roll on there, don't let the knife touch. You want that little roll of paint to touch. And you want to pull it down. As you do, it'll start separating and leaving little gaps. As long as you don't put no pressure. If you put pressure, it flattens out. Once you hear the knife scrubbing, you know all your paint's gone. So I'm just coming up and hitting all these tips first. And then I'll come back and figure out where my shadows are. It's such a light pressure, it's really hard to explain. Like I said, you don't want the knife to touch, just that roll of paint. Then you want to try to not smash it. You want it to touch and just start pulling. You can almost feel it grab onto. Alright, now we're going to go back and add some shadows, and then I'm going to show you a couple of tricks. We're not finished with the white yet. All those are straight lines, so we need to add some jagged spots to that. Alright, let me mix up a little bit of blue, a little bit of white. Ooh, look at that. Alright, so I didn't over mix it. I got all these beautiful blue and white tones in there. Believe it or not, when you pick up a little roll of that paint, you have those same colors. So when you go up here to do your shadows, you have all those values right there, and don't fill it all the way up. Leave some of it dark. By adding all these little shadows, it really pushes those other mountains up. But you gotta stick to your angles too. If you don't put your angle in right, it won't look right. I love painting. It's so it takes me to another place. I apologize for not turning around and talking, but I get lost in. If you don't look at your painting, you'll miss some things. You know, there's always stuff that pops up as you're painting, and you can use it. All right, now let's go back to the white, and I'll show you what I was talking about. So, just in a couple of spots, like say right here, we can come up over that shadow and it pushes it underneath it. Things like that are just tricks. Just in a couple of spots, I'm writing them up. seeing another spot I wanted to hit. Maybe right here. All right, a couple more spots. And see, we took that from a straight edge to a really nice edge crossing over that shadow. All right, we got a nice mountain range up there. Now we need to tap the bottom of it. And when you're doing this, you're just lightly tapping it out. You're only coming up just a small amount, maybe a quarter of the way, and then tap your way down, keeping those same angles. This pulls some of that cover down and really softens up the bottom of these mountains. Alright, now we'll come back and tap it at the very, very bottom. Make it look like mist. It'll just keep mixing with that magic white and getting softer and softer. Alright, I'm gonna wipe my brush off. Make sure you ain't got no, I'm gonna knock it off. Make sure you ain't got no heavy paint on it. Then we'll come back and lift right up it. Just a little bit past where we were tapping. Just a little bit past it. Not much. Alright, just blend this away, get rid of all those tap marks. Alright, we're good to move on now. Alright, let's think about this. What else do we want to see today? Y'all tell me what you want to see. Hey, Mariah. I couldn't read that. Or Marla. Thank you so much. Jamie, thank you for the heart. Thank you so much. Ted Darkest, thanks for coming in, man. Alright, let me get... what are we going to start with? I think I'm going to need some sap green. That will work. And a little bit of black. Small amount. I'm not sure that's black. Yeah, it is. Alright. Alright, I'm going to add just a little bit of linseed oil because that is so thick. Like I said, I want it to come off whenever I touch it. I don't want to have to beat on it to get the color to come off. You'll get used to how thick your paints are, and the more you paint, the more you'll get used to it. Alright, let's see. Let's start. Maybe back here. Just touching and pulling up. A little black, a little bit of sap green. Make this look like a whole bunch of trees out here. The closer you get to it, the bigger they should get. And as we get closer, we'll start adding more and more details to them. Also want them to look like they're disappearing back there, going up that hill. Going back, angle some of these up right at the backs. And just pull straight up. Make sure you pull straight up. You don't want trees leaning to the left. The wind will be blowing 100 miles an hour. Sometimes I'll hit the black, sometimes just let it stay with the sap green. Getting all those different colors out there is what we're trying to do. Just to trick that brain into thinking there's thousands of trees out there. Just background. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm kind of shaping the lay of the land right now. I don't know how much further I want to go with these. I think we're about to stop. I'm going to put something else over here. Alright, I think that'll work. Alright, we need to go back and add a little bit of color in the water before we move on. I'm ready to pull some reflections. I should have put those colors down here as I've done the sky. That's normally what I do. I don't know what I was thinking. So let's go back. We tap a little bit of that yellow. Don't need much color back here. So far back. Make sure to pull it straight across. I'm being really careful. I should have put this in before these trees, but it's alright. Nothing we can't fix. Nothing we can't fix. There are no mistakes in this style of painting. None. Not that you can't fix anyway. There's mistakes. You can make some mistakes. Most of them can be fixed. Alright, go back into my Alizar red. Very little color. You put a bunch of color up there, you're going to have a hard time blending it down. Start out light. Light touches. If you touch it hard, it will put it on there really hard. But because that magic white is there, just do it lightly. And we're going to rub this till it gets really, really soft. I'm really pressing pretty firm. I want it to mix with that magic white and get really, really soft. Alright. Now, just add a tiny bit of blue to your brush. It is really, really, really strong. You can always go back and add more color. I don't want no hard lines. I'm going to blend those till they absolutely go straight together. We'll come back and make this bottom edge a little bit darker. It's supposed to be the closest to us. So let's make it a little darker in value. Same color. We're just making it a little darker. Like going over it again with fresh paint. And then we'll work our way from there up. And it'll just get lighter and lighter as we come up. Alright, let me clean this brush. I'm gonna come back with my 2-inch and really work these colors together. Lighten this back here just by pulling it out. Oh, look at that. Pulled some of that color out there. It looks like the ground is going out into the water. Right there where they meet, we'll get a beautiful little purple. Alright, we're good to go. Now we got some water in there. Alright. Now y'all check this part out. This is where it kind of gets a little bit cool. Well, at least to me it is. Alright, so we'll go back, tap those same colors. Green, tiny bit of black. And right here, I'll start pulling down. Make sure to pull them down the same height if they are tall. As we get further back there, of course, they're going to get smaller and smaller. All right, that'll work. Make sure you're pulling them straight down. Now we're going to go back and turn them into reflections. So I'm going to get my 2-inch, the dry brush. I'm going to touch these and pull them straight down. Just a little bit. This really stretches out those tops. so that when you do your reflections, you got light going through the tops of it. All right. Lightly go across this. So light. Just drag the brush and make sure you go straight across. Even though I'm going at an angle, I'm still pulling it straight across. Alright, we'll go back in a minute, add the water lines, and we'll really be able to see those reflections pop out. Alright. Hold on, just those little areas right there, just a little bit dark. Because it's wet, you can just keep moving it and moving it through the whole painting. Alright. Now, just put us a water line out there so we can separate everything. So just start right at the bottom of your land. Remember, scratch that knife straight. You see how I got it flat and I'm just shaking it straight out. That's all you need to do to get these water lines to come out. Just like that. Very little paint though. You put a lot of paint on there, you're just gonna have globs. That roll of paint is even smaller than the roll you start with the snow. Alright, let's start throwing up some stuff we can recognize. Let's see. Same thing, black and sap green. And I'm just using the corner of the brush, going in a zigzag pattern, like a Z. And just start really building a nice tree. You start out with the corner. By the time you're finished, you're hitting it head on. And we'll go back and add some black right here down towards the bottom. That's where all the darkness is. That's where all the shadows are. Alright, I think he needs a little buddy. He's a little crooked. Maybe he got stepped on. Alright, that's a couple of trees there. What we're gonna do? Hmm. Let's see. I really don't want to block that up anymore. Hmm. Just thinking. Where do I want to go next? You know, there ain't no drawing, so you gotta do it in your head. Right now, I'm just taking time. Man, do I want to come across here with it? I guess. Hmm. You know what? I think I'll have a little waterfall in over there. Yeah, we could do that. Nah, I really want to build this cabin. I don't know. Might have enough room to do both. Yeah, let's do it. Right. Clean my fan brush off. Go into my titanium white. Right. Before I do that, I need to add a little bit of dark color under it. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna add a little bit, a tiny bit of black. Not a lot. That's about all it takes. And I'm only doing that for shadow underneath it. There might be some rocks under there or something, don't know. But you need dark to show light. I do know that. It's a short little waterfall. All right. All right, let's go back into those same colors. Sap green, a little bit of black. Just gonna keep on putting this grass up here. Right here on that side, we'll push that waterfall back. Mm. That'll work. I think we got enough room to put us a little cabin on here now. Let me build it down just a little bit further. That'll work. Let's go ahead and let me put some highlights on that tree first, and then we'll move on. Just right into the cad yellow. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. Leave it dark at the bottom. Remember, Bob says the critters have to hide there. Just go back, do a little bit of highlighting. And see that yellow with that green and that black give you beautiful green colors. The more you tap it, the greener it'll turn. And don't cover up everything. Leave some dark spots. Alright, so let's build us a little house now. First, let's go ahead and pull these reflections before we even go any further. So just reach up, grab some of that color, and pull it down. Alright. Turn it sideways and just wipe slowly. No pressure. No pressure. Just drag the brush right across. Now we got reflections. Now we'll get some white. Let's say waterline on here. And that looks great, don't it? Alright. Do we have enough room for a house? I hope so. I don't want to cut too much in my tree out. I worked too hard on it. So I'm just scratching out the shape of my little house. And the reason for this is you want to pick up all that heavy paint. If we try to go back in and add anything to that, we just get a mess. And this helps you lay out your perspective, what angle you want to see it at. Alright, got it. I see it. Alright, this time I'm going to go with a yellow ochre and Van Dyke brown. I'm not going to overmix them. I actually put brown down, flattened it out, and then flattened yellow ochre right over it, and then went back and picked it up. Man, those are some beautiful colors. Alright, now on the side over here. Alright. Now get a tiny bit of white, the smallest amount. You don't want a whole lot. And you just want to barely touch. If it does go down too hard, you just gotta rub it a few times. Alright, we'll leave the side over here dark. Now we'll take a little bit of just straight brown, Van Dyke brown. Go through here, put some boards. So, 'cause may have to put a little thinner with it. Alright. Now, right at the top eave, need to make it dark. Because you're going to have a shadow on this side. We'll be able to see this side of the eave, actually. Now, I'll take a little bit of red and start putting shingles up here. Oh, let me straighten this edge up. And the power of a knife is amazing. Alright, now we're going to take a little bit of white, go right around the edges to highlight it. Too much. Go back in with that dark color. Alright, let me use a small size. Much better. Alright, need to let me put a little bit more on that other side. I really want that roof edge to stick out. Alright. Now we'll scratch out a door. And I don't know, we'll lay some blue in there. All right. I don't know. Maybe he's got a window. Now we'll stick a little bit of yellow right in that window, like you got him a little lantern going. And I want it to be a little bit brighter. go. All right, take a little bit of white, go right around the window. That'll work. Oh, wait a minute. A little highlighter on the door. I'll be afraid to lean the knife too much when I'm trying to do little lines. Alright, there's our little house. Now we need to put something, grass or something up around it. Oh yeah, let's get a little tiny bit. This'll work. Just some catio, thin down. Remember, we want it to come off easy. Painting is absolutely amazing. The things you can create. I wouldn't do anything else. Alright, let's go back and add a little bit of this color to the water. That's always beautiful. And, you know, I'm not putting a whole lot. Doesn't take a whole lot. Alright, let's get the soft brush, 2-inch. And lightly pull down, very lightly. You will destroy it if you apply any pressure. 3 hairs and some air is what Bob says. I would agree. Alright, go back across it, sideways, light, light, light. Now, that is some beautiful reflections. I don't know what y'all think. Alright, let's pull some tape and see what we got. Oh, I'm sorry. I done beat it to the other side. Morgan, Purple Iris, thanks for coming in. GMA, thank you. Lindy Mae, thank you. Brett, thank you. Alright, let's pull some tape off. See what we got. I love doing these borders because to me it just really sets things off. But not getting paint on these borders while pulling the tape off can be tricky. I have messed up a mini. But I think I figured out how to put that tape on and get it to come off. Alright, so y'all tell me what you think. Alright guys,